How's it going, everybody? Matt Moda here with OddsJam. Let's bet some player props for Thursday Night Football. So, admittedly, not the most fun game in the world between the Cowboys and the Titans. It was supposed to be a really good game about a month ago. Titans have gone on like a 5-game winning streak. Ryan Tannehill is out for the year, and they're starting Malik Willis, who just isn't quite ready yet to be a passing quarterback in the NFL. But regardless, we still have bets to place. So I hopped on OddsJam, hopped on the positive expected value page, hopped on the OddsJam screen, and found some valuable bets for us to place for Thursday Night Football. So let's get right into it. The first play that I found using the OddsJam positive expected value page. And the play is Dak Prescott over 240.5 passing yards. So if you have Bet365, this is a really, really good play. So we can chat about it. Number one is the math behind it, right? So OddsJam calculates the perfect line, the no vig odds in this column here, to be priced at about minus 112, a little bit above minus 112. And we're getting it over 2 cents lower at minus 110. And this is the important part of positive expected value betting, because these odds right here, the no vig odds, they're pulled from the sharpest, most accurate bookmakers in the world. That the sports books that consistently do the best job are the most accurate at pricing odds. So the sharpest sports books in the world are telling us, hey, this should actually be priced closer to minus 112, a little bit above minus 112. And then once that has been calculated, OddsJam is constantly scanning odds from all of the major sports books, right? Collecting millions and millions of data points in real time, and then spits out opportunities where we're getting more favorable odds than the no vig line, than the OddsJam perfect line. And when I say more favorable, I just mean higher payout. So again, minus 110 at Bet365, Dak Prescott over 240.5 passing yards. You know it's the positive EV play because it's bolded and it has the yellow or the blue outline around it. That is saying, hey, bet me, bet this play. And then there's a couple additional things that you want to do before placing a bet. Number one, as you can see when I hover over the play itself, it shades blue. If you just click your mouse anywhere it's shaded blue, it pulls up this screen you see here, which just shows where every other sportsbook is pricing odds for this play. So we got it at minus 110 at Bet365. PointsBet, minus 115 each way. Nothing to glean from there. But then DraftKings has the over at minus 125. Tipico has the over at minus 125. Both of these sportsbooks are heavily favoring the over. And then we have Pinnacle, which is the sharpest sportsbook in the world, giving the heaviest weight to these no vig odds here. Prices the over at minus 137, the under at plus 104, heavily favoring it going over. And then what you want to do is for a stat like any yardage stat where the numbers have can have a wider range. This also works for totals and spreads. What you want to do is open the event page in a new tab, which is exactly what you see up here. So the reason for that is when you open up the event page in a new tab, it pulls up where every sportsbook is pricing his passing yardage prop at, right? Like we know just from this screenshot here that sportsbooks are going to have different odds. What this also means is that not every single sportsbook is going to price the total at 240. So we are taking the over. Let's see if the other sportsbooks agree that the total should be over 240.5. And the answer is yes. So we got it at 240.5 at minus 110 odds. Look at where other sportsbooks price it. So Caesars prices the over a yard higher, prices the total, a yard higher at 241.5 and heavily favors it going over at 1 yard higher. They have those odds at minus 127, the under at minus 108. And then we see a couple sportsbooks price it at 242.5, 2 yards higher. That would be BetMGM, that would be FanDuel, that would be FoxBet. And then we see a couple sportsbooks, again, 245.5, 5 yards higher. That would be the two DFS companies, Underdog and PrizePicks. And then lastly, we see another underdog DFS company at Monkey Knife Fight price it at 250.5, 10 yards higher. So every single sportsbook that prices the Dak Prescott passing yardage total either prices it at 240.5 and heavily favors it going over, like these three, or they price it above 240.5, basically telling us that they think it should be that his total should go over 240.5. And passing is the way to beat the Titans. Their run defense is pretty good. Their pass defense is awful. So this makes sense that the sharper books, the majority of books, are catching on that Dak should go over this passing yardage prop, whereas not every single book is. So that's the first play found from using the OddsJam positive EV page. So that's the positive EV play. The next up, I found 2 plays using the OddsJam screen. The way the OddsJam screen works is you choose a market, and it pulls up where every single sportsbook prices that prop at. So in this case, I have player receiving yards. Sportsbooks haven't even priced odds yet for the Titans for Malik Willis passing or receiving yardage props for any of the Titans players. So we just have the Cowboys to choose from. But when you're using the screen, you can identify sportsbooks that have some sort of outlier price on their yardage prop. So 2 plays that I found, both Dalton Schultz and Michael Gallup, taking them to go under their receiving yardage prop. Michael Gallup, so the play is Michael Gallup under 31.5 receiving yards at -114 odds at FanDuel. Every other sportsbook prices it below this number, unless you, and you can also take his under on these 2 DFS companies as well. So PrizePicks and Underdog take Michael Gallup to go under 31.5 receiving yards. The reason why I like this one, every other book prices it at 30. Even one book has it at 29.5, and that would be BetRivers. And then when you want to look at the sharp sports books in terms of player props, that would be the OddsJam Perfect Line, Pinnacle Sportsbook. Prices this at 30.5, 1 yard lower, and they favor it going under. So not only do they have it priced lower, they also have it favored to go under. Granted, pretty slightly. The over is priced at -114. The under is priced at -116. So they're not heavily favoring it going under by any means, but they're still favoring it going under, and they're still pricing it 1 prop below, 1 yard below what we are getting it at FanDuel. And 1 yard gap for receiving yards as low as 30 is a much bigger deal than 1 yard gap going from 240 to 241, right? It's all valuable. It's still good news for this Dak Prescott one that sportsbooks price it even 1 yard above what we got it at, but it's even more valuable for a prop as low as 30 yards. So this one's really good. Michael Gallup under 31.5 receiving yards, -114 at FanDuel. And then the next play is another under, Dalton Schultz under 40.5 receiving yards at PointsBet. You can also get this one on Monkey Knife Fight. So I probably wouldn't touch it at 39.5, but I do think it's good at 40. Same logic, same reasoning why. A couple of sportsbooks price it at 39.5. That would be PrizePicks and Underdog. The majority of sportsbooks have it at 38.5, so 2 yards lower. So again, 1 yard gap is meaningful. 2 yards is twice as meaningful, basically. Have it at 38.5, including the OddsJam Perfect Line, including DraftKings, and then even BetRivers prices it 2 yards lower or 3 yards lower at 37.5. So similar logic here. Every single sportsbook is pricing the prop different than what we got it at. So in the FanDuel case, we're taking the under 31.5. Every other sportsbook has it at 30, and then one has it at 29. For the Dalton Schultz one, we're getting it to go under 40.5, and this is at -120 at PointsBet. Every other book has it at 38.5 or 37.5, excluding the DFS ones. So 2 player props that we're getting an outlier from. That makes it 3 player props total for this video. So if you're tailing these 3, the Dak Prescott over passing yards, or Michael Gallup and Dalton Schultz under receiving yards, comment and let me know. And one thing I'll say, and people are going to ask, isn't it kind of counterintuitive to take 2 receivers to go under while we're taking the quarterback to go over? And I understand the logic behind that, but it's entirely possible that these 2 go over while these 2 go under while Dak goes over. CeeDee Lamb could go off. Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott could go off. T.Y. Hilton could have another 60-yard catch. Noah Brown could have a couple catches. So there are obviously other receivers that could go off, and most notably CeeDee Lamb, who torched the Eagles last week. So I don't necessarily if the plays kind of go in contrast with each other like this one, that I won't necessarily just avoid them for that case. If you look at each play individually, and if they're a good play individually, then it doesn't scare me off if I have some sort of play opposite than that. If that makes sense. You just want to look at each play individually and price it according to that. So regardless, that's 3 player props for you guys for Thursday Night Football. So if you're tailing, comment, let me know. But that's it. So appreciate everybody watching, and have a good one.